checking to see if it's live. All right, we're good to go.
Welcome back, everyone. We are here for Dark Horse Slugging Association Season 3. Much awaited, much anticipated. We're here on another Around the Shroom session to kick off our season. I'm your host, Dawson, here with my co-host.
I'm Nathan.
How are you doing?
I'm doing all right, but I've been missing some Dark Horse Slugging Association baseball. So looking forward to this season and looking forward to getting started here.
That is right. I mean, it feels like so long since we've been able to really see some great baseball being played on some amazing, just the stories that we get to watch unfold. I mean, we saw season one, Fury just dominate everybody, and then season two, a Cinderella run of all Cinderella runs, as the Wigglers stunned everyone to take season two.
Yeah, it was definitely an underdog story for the ages. I'm so glad to see them still celebrating that victory. As we move into the getting ready for the draft day and leading up to it, a lot of questions circling around where this league is going to go in this next season and how things are going to shape up. Considering this is the last season that teams get to keep their captains from the start, so excited to see what we get out of this, and I mean, can't wait to see what excitement this season brings for us. Maybe we'll see Slug and Heat in the finals again.
And all in due time, all in due time. But something very special for this Around the Shroom session that we really have never seen before is visuals. And welcome everybody to our first presentation on the Around the Shroom segment. We're going to begin. I have a special segment I want to kick off is we have some teams in the lottery, only 3 this year, but these are my picks, and I want to hear what you have to say about them on the best pick for each team in the lottery. So that's Pipe Dream has 2 picks, first and third, best odds. The Royals have the second best odds, and Fury is in there with the 4th best odds. And that lottery will be at the end of our session. The end of our show will be ended with the lottery. So really a special time here for us. I think, needless to say, probably one of the most spectacular players in the history of DSA, certainly in season 2, as we watch Peter Piranha, the first overall pick in season 1, finally show why in season 2, winning MVP, finals MVP, and carrying the Wigglers to a championship. Do you see any reason why Peter shouldn't be the very first pick in this lottery?
No, I don't. The only way that I could see Peter being not the first pick is if another team somehow trades up into the lottery and somehow takes the first overall pick. I'm looking at a team such as Slug and Heat, who might decide to go with the Kong instead. That is the only possible scenario that I can see Peter not being the first overall pick. I mean, he is absolutely dominant no matter what team he's on, no matter the players around him. He's going to show up and he's going to prove his worth. And that's just something you can't really say about every other player on this field. And Peter is just, I mean, he's just that guy. As we saw the Wigglers do in season 2, he just knows how to perform. And I don't think any team is going to skip up or skip that.
I tend to agree. That's why I put him here, right? I mean, Peter just is that X factor that any team would be lucky to have. But let's look it down. If these teams, none of them end up trading away their picks, what do you think about my second best option if they end up getting the second pick or worse for each of those? With our first being Pipe Dream picking up Hammer Bro.
Yeah, I mean, I think for Pipe Dream, bringing Hammer Bro would just bring talent to the team. Maybe not the best kin that could work out for him, but just having that raw and pure talent, it could definitely it would just boost the team as a whole. I do think that some other potential contenders could be Daisy, which we saw them try to work this out last year and it didn't work, but it could be a potential option. And then another chance is the Hammer Bro, just another solid pick. But Ultimately, it's just going to come down to what they decide to do, and how they look at this draft going forward. If they want to try to use their later picks to build an all-around team, or just send it to the best available player.
Certainly won't say it's worst case scenario, but having two picks in the draft, having the best odds, I'm sure all eyes are trying to go all in and get Peter. Trade away the lottery pick would be an opportunity for them, certainly for Pipe Dream, having the two swings, two bites at the apple, to try to get Peter. But I mean, I think to your point, there are other options, but Peter certainly is the number one. But
Yeah.
looking at the Royals, that's where I think Daisy is going to have a lot of success. So bringing back Daisy to the Royals to be the captain of the future is kind of where I have the pick that we see the Royals GM take. What do you think?
Yeah, they had to drop her due to the one captain per season rule, and they chose to stick with Birdo instead. Probably the best option there out of those two. But ultimately, Daisy is, I think, the best option for them. Once again, just they saw how well she performed, how well she flashed for them, and she's just going to be a solid lockdown player for them. But ultimately, I don't see any other player really fitting their scheme quite like Daisy does. Um, so I do think that that is probably the best option for them. Probably going to be the easiest pick out of any of these if I had to guess.
I again tend to agree with you. I think Daisy had some real pop, really performed well for the Royals last season, and having a princess on your team called the Royals, that certainly is a match made in heaven, right? So I mean, it just seems like it just makes sense if the Peter pick doesn't end up going the way they want it to. And the final one is Fury going with Blue Dry Bones, creating the Boner trifecta. I think that's what they called it. I'm not really. That's a quote from the Fury GM. I'm not really understanding quite. But what do you think?
Yeah, I definitely think that that's the best option. I could see them going back to the Hammer Bro, potentially looking at swinging him instead, and just try to build that season one team that they had that was just so dominant because of all the bros being on the team. And then they could potentially trade to try to get some of the other bros later in the season. But I could see Dry Bones or Hammer Bro being the best options for them, as they know how both of those players work, and they know that both of them are going to help them out and tremendously, and they fit their chemistry very well. So I do think that it's going to be a tough decision, and I think it's going to come down to a split moment decision for the Fury team.
I I'm in agreement as well. But that's gonna do it for our first segment. Any final thoughts before we move on to the next one?
No, I think this lottery is going to be an interesting scenario with having Pipe Dream with two picks in it. We could see some interesting results from it, and then depending on what Pipe Dream does with that first pick, if they do have the first overall, that second pick is going to be just as valuable. So I can't wait to see what happens from it.
Absolutely. But that is going to take us to our next segment, which is drafted trade opportunities. And we've talked a little bit about some of this earlier in our first segment, but moving into our second segment, we both had three opportunities that we came up with prior to the show. And we want to really be able to expound on them and talk a little bit more about what these opportunities could mean for each team. Go ahead and start with your first one.
Yeah, I think the first pick, or the first option that I have is that the Warriors could trade down. They're looking at two back-to-back picks in both the first and second round, but then they have to wait till the end of the fourth round in order to get their next pick. So I could see them potentially trading that second round pick down, trying to get down in the third round and get a little bit more draft capital later in the draft, or potentially securing some needed talent that they might want, on their roster from one of the other teams that are looking to get up into the second round. So I definitely could see Warp Zone trying to trade a couple of those picks away just to secure an overall consistent draft order. But it's hard to say what they're going to do. I just think that that is an opportunity for them to secure a few more picks and potentially have um, a few more talent players on their roster.
I think you're totally right. It's totally an opportunity that we could see them have some success with, especially with the amount of the 4 picks they have in the first 2 rounds, and then the relative dearth or lack thereof a little bit mid in the middle portion of the draft. For my first one, I have Pipe Dream trading picks for talent. They have it's a truly massive number of picks. I believe it's 18 picks they have.
Well,
It's 16. You said
it's 13 picks, so they'll have a 16
13.
man roster.
Okay, excuse me. So they have so many picks that they don't need all of those picks, and not so much of it is high up. I think there's an opportunity to not trade picks, not pick swaps necessarily, but taking players that either exist on teams or soon to exist on teams. I mean, this could be an opportunity where, uh, if they don't get the first round of the pick, they switch that and trade to get Peter by using their huge amount of picks, or possibly peeling away a Fire Bro, a Boomerang Bro, or a Funky Kong, something like that, for a team that needs more picks in those higher rounds. Since they have so many picks, I believe it's 5 picks in the first 2 rounds. So lots of high level talent that is available on this board, really being able to flex that and create a stronger core, since their core is recently lost their solid Nathan and me, traded getting McDeuce as our kept player, Dawson, and of course Mario.
Yeah, you you mentioned it, but just a funny stat here that Pipe Dream will be able to field an entire team before Slug and Heat will get their first pick.
Wow.
So that and that kind of leads right into my next point is that Slug and Heat should be looking to trade up here. They have already kind of expressed interest in getting back into the first 3 rounds, and I definitely think that that is the best move that they can make if they want to make it back to the finals this season. It's going to be tough for them. You know, they're probably going to have to part ways with some players that they might not want to, or some picks that they might not want to. But Slug and Heat, they definitely need to get back in those first 3 rounds because waiting until that fourth round or the end of the fourth round is just going to be tough for them, and they're going to watch all of the talent on the board slip away before they even get a chance to to think about who they want to pick. So. Looking for them to get up into the first 3 rounds, and I think that's going to be essential for them.
I think a reminder here that the equivalent, they'll have the 31st pick, and the equivalent in season 2 was Pink Yoshi. So the best player comp that they would be getting is somebody around the Pink Yoshi level, and that's the first player that they will see in that fourth round. So I think, like your point, you got to trade up and get into some talent. So, uh, but that moving into 2 is another one is trading away captains. It's something that I think is going to be really prevalent, not just on draft day, but just throughout the league. Are there's going to be a lot of captains? I think it's 4 captains that's going to be expiring this season that must be dropped from their teams. Bowser, Mario, Birdo, to name 3. Uh, there's just, I think there's an opportunity there to really capitalize on value and rebrand the team, well, not rebrand, but restart the identity of the team and try to move away from what will eventually be a teardown, and just getting a jump start at the draft day, and finding the value where you can. There's still some pretty good captains on the board, and I think that you're really going to look at some teams making the decision to either uh, part ways early with their captain or double down and try to invest now and win now for the season and let next season be the teardown. So just keep an eye on that, I think, through this draft. And through this draft, excuse me.
Yeah, that's a big part of this season. Looking at it, is that there are going to be captains that have to be dropped, and so I do think that we're going to see some moves and some trades. But I think we're also just going to see some teams hold on and just try to sell out for this season and see what they can build for next. But my next topic is going to be that Fury. I believe they just need to trade for a few more capital, or a little bit more capital. And what I mean by this is just getting a few more picks on the board. Right now, they only have 6 picks, which means that they're going to field a 9-man team, which in this league is just hard to do because at that point it limits them to what kind of trades they can make, and how effective they can be in building a good solid team for the season, along with preparing for next season. Because with only 9 players, that means that they can't part ways with bench players, along with bringing in new talent. So they really just need to find ways to generate some capital in this draft. It may not be easy, but I think that they could definitely find a way to do it. We could potentially see some Fury Slug and Heat trades, or some Fury Royals trades or something like that. It could help them a lot, just to have more players on their roster. So that's kind of what I'm looking for as well.
Yeah, I'm in agreement. I think that you gotta be able to find that capital because having 9 players, it's not really tenable, and you can't really trade anything if things go wrong. So, but I'm moving on to my third point. I realize it's a little defunct because the lottery is today and teams can't trade today. Uh, we may have to reassess this point, but the point stands in that teams needing to move up in the draft as a whole. The teams like Heat, for example, teams that don't have a lot of picks in the mid rounds. Uh, so I think it's just having the time to be able to trade into those high value picks because while there are more high value players in this draft, I think that you have to look at the amount of players that are really that high quality must get. It tails off quickly after the first 2 or 3 rounds.
Yeah, it's those first four picks, especially this season with Peter being on the board, are just more valuable than any other. And being able to get that first pick. Now, I know that you're talking about trading into the lottery, but at this point, whoever wins the lottery could potentially trade out of it, which they'd be sacrificing Peter, so they would have to get a lot in return. But we could see it work out in their favor, depending on what happens.
Absolutely. I mean, if you're going to bank on Peter having a down year after the monster season he had, it's hard to ever, after seeing what we saw, and especially in that postseason, it's hard to ever want to bank against Peter. So, or bet against him, certainly not. So, any final thoughts as we move into our third section?
No, I think we kind of covered most of what I wanted to talk about with this section. It's pretty clear that there's some kind of skewed draft boards this season, with Pipe Dream having 12, 13 picks and Slug and Heat Fury only having 6. So we could see a lot of trades going down and a lot of picks shifting around. So just be on the lookout for that as we approach the draft day.
So moving on to our third section, and I think this is going to be one of the ones that becomes one of our recurring segments as we look at draft days and trade deadline days, is big brained or bone headed. And in this one is players kept. What are you thinking as we look at the North Seat Soot Conference first?
Yeah, I think it's pretty interesting that Critter Crew decided to keep Lil BJ. I think that's the first thing that just stands out to me. Giving up on the Brown Critter, which they traded for last season. It's just an interesting choice to go with Lil BJ. And I understand locking down that captain and making sure that you have that captain available to you. But to give up a Critter, which is kind of what you've based your team around, means that you're going to have to hope that Critter falls down to you in the draft, which looking at what we have going for them, it is possible that they potentially get that Critter, but it's gonna be a hard set for them to do that. But that's the first thing that jumps out to me. What about you?
I mean, the Wigglers are just it's tough. It's tough going. You lose Bloopa, Wiggler, and Peter. I mean, there's not a whole lot of players. I mean, it's more a testament that you look at that lineup that this is the team that ended up winning it all. That they were able to grit through with a pretty mid team on paper. But I mean, it's a backpack job if I've ever seen it by Peter. But it's just it's not that think it's particularly boneheaded. There just aren't a ton of players available. I mean, you keep your MVMe candidate in JT2, who is a partner in crime with JT out there. So I really am not disappointed. I don't think it's boneheaded, the players that were kept, considering how few were left. In particular, I look at the Royals, and it's interesting to see that they kept Birdo. So this is the third season in a row that Birdo's going to be leading this team. It's going to be really interesting to see how they continue to handle things. Birdo was a phenomenal pitcher last season, and I think Birdo should continue that clip. But the just overall playmaking that we saw from Daisy and the step up that we saw from Peach, you wonder if either of those would have been a better pick. Daisy in particular, with the pretty monster season Daisy had. But that's probably my only thing. Toad and Toadette both were solid for the team as a whole. I'm just curious. I think we're going to look back on this as either being big-brained or boneheaded. I don't think there's going to be an either or on this one.
Yeah, I think the Royals, they were kind of in a hard position with having four captains on the team. But I do think it's interesting that they decided to go with Berto, knowing that they're going to have to drop her after the season. In which case they're going to have to rely on the draft in order to pick up, Daisy or Peach, if they want to go back that route. Now, the Toad outfield, they should be able to get another Toad out there to fill that up. But it's just interesting to see them go with Berto, like you said, who is probably one of the best pitchers in the league, but also knowing that they're going to have to drop her this season it is a very interesting topic. And I think, like you said, we're going to look at it late in the season, and we're going to start, questioning, or we're going to start seeing kind of the value of that pick.
Looking at the Western Conference, I just have to look at it directly. Is looking at Fallout Boys going away from keeping Wario, who really stepped up and led this team this season. I know the Red Kamek Fire Bro Dark Bones is a tale as old as time, as it were, getting a Bro, a Kamek, and either a Bones or a Critter or something, another power hitter like that. It's just interesting. It's interesting to see that we went away from Wario, who really was a great leader for this team.
Yeah, that was actually going to be my comment, is that, the Fallout Boys are the most standout team. I honestly think that this might be kind of a boneheaded move to move away from Wario. He, despite his size, is actually one of the better middle infielders, and he really brought life to the team whenever they needed it. But I do think that, missing him or dropping him is going to be a little bit of a mistake later in the season, unless they can find a way to secure him in the draft. But yeah, that was the first one that stood out to me as well. I think another one that's interesting is looking at Fury. They're sticking with their Bowser theme, but they dropped King Boo, who was kind of a good player, at least a pretty solid player for them, and especially for the Royals team whenever they had him. King Boo he's a good power hitter, a good pitcher, and the outfield that they had going for them at least worked for a little while. And so I think it's interesting to see, that they decided to move away from the King Boo and Boo strategy, maybe hoping to find him in the draft somewhere, but they're going to be hard pressed to do that with the picks that they have.
You're totally right. I think it definitely could be. Maybe they didn't see what they wanted to with the King Boo and Boo acquisition midseason, or King Boo acquisition in particular. But it's hard to deny how impactful King Boo was at times with some of the key clutch hitting we saw. But I mean, the Dry Bones dominated the average game last season. Both Green Boner, Dry Boner, Blue Boner, and Dark Boner. This is per the Fury GM, of course. So seeing those, how effective they were on the bat, maybe this is them shoring up and trying to go for more of an average style of play instead of the pure power hitting we've seen from Fury in the past. But moving over to Pipe Dream, I mean, this just feels like a Wiggler situation that you're just picking the best things you got and making yourself as versatile as possible, especially as touted as this year's draft will be, considering the amount of picks that you have if you're Pipe Dream. I'm not too concerned about this situation. I mean, likely by the end of the draft, Dawson and what was Nathan is now McDeuce will both be bench pieces. So I think you're just fleshing yourself out, making yourself very flexible in this situation.
Yeah, I agree. The Pipe Dream would just, I mean, at this point, they were just picking the most versatile pieces that they could just work with in the draft. But looking at Slug and Heat, I mean, we've kind of talked about it, but just kind of put into a hard spot. They had to keep DK, Funky, and Dixie. And, I mean, honestly, it's a good, solid core. It's the draft picks that they have just lends me to say that, this just isn't going to work out how they want it to, unless they can trade away, some of these pieces or just find a way somehow to rebuild this team. They're going to be hard-pressed to do that, but I at least they have a solid core going for them. I'm curious to see, what they're going to do to try to get back into the finals this year.
I don't know if it feels this way for you, but it definitely feels like last season was all in for Slug and Heat. I mean, you're not drafted to the fourth round. I mean, you look at that roster, and it looks like it's the final evolution of what that roster could be built around a Kong team. And it just wasn't able to get it done. That's you wonder if Plug and Heat's going to begin the process of the teardown sooner rather than later to try to get ahead of what is going to be a pretty brutal draft if nothing changes from their front office.
Yeah, it's going to be a hard sell for them to be able to do that. But as we know, the Slug and Heat GM has been outspoken about how much he loves DK. So it's going to be hard for them to let go of that. But I think, for their sake, it might be time for them to try to move on and try to rebuild something else. But we'll see what happens from them.
Well, we've talked about every other team. We might as well speak on the Warriors as well. This felt very much like there was going to be no other pathway for them. I was a little not confused or shocked or anything that they moved away from Luigi. I mean, Luigi was a mid-season acquisition, but any other comments that you have on these three?
No, I think that they just chose their best players, honestly. Luigi and Blue Pianta maybe had a case, but given the players that they had to keep with Blue Critter, Boomerang Bro, and Kamek, it's pretty clear what direction they're going to try to go with in terms of what type of players they want to pick up. So dropping Luigi and Blue Pianta made the most sense. I think that they probably just made the best decision for them as far as talent-wise. And they're going to look to capitalize on the draft picks that they got from Slug and Heat last season and just build around those three players.
Right, you are. And so with that, we're heading to our fourth and final section, the too early postseason predictions. So I don't really know where the best way is to start, going bottom up or going top down or just making your decisions, but wherever you want to start, you take it.
I think we should go from the bottom up.
Yeah.
And let's leave the number one for each of us, to the end. So in that number eight spot, I personally, I believe the Wigglers are going to be in that 8 spot. They did something miraculous last season, but they had Peter to do it, and without him and without some of their draft picks that they're missing, I just think it's going to be hard for them to get back to where they were. And I could see the fall off for them being very, very hard here. So, and not having any players kept that really are as impactful as some of the other teams in their position, it's just going to be hard for them to get back up there.
I really do think this season is going to be very much. We saw the value of Mies last season in a way that we've never seen before. I think this is still gonna be the team that finishes 8th. I'm gonna agree with you on that. But to me, it really does feel like this is a team that totally could go win 3 games and lose because of the head-to-head or lose because of some tiebreaker that keeps them out of it. I think that this is an opportunity this season that we're not going to see any breakaway leaders like we did with Fury or with Warp Zone Warriors this season. I think there's an opportunity for a little bit more parity than we've seen in the past.
Yeah, I agree with that. So I guess moving on to the number 7 position and the second team that I believe is going to miss the playoffs. So I believe it's going to be Slug and Heat. Kind of similar situation to the Wigglers here that, they had a good team last season, but like you said, they kind of sold out for it. And with this season looking in, at best they trade up into the first 3 rounds, but they give up so much capital to do it that they're just going to end up kind of with a mid team. And although they have a good solid core, I could see them dismantling and trying to go a different direction. And I think that's just going to lead them to be the 7th or 8th spot and missing the playoffs.
Interesting. So I actually think that they're not going to do much of anything. I think if they're traded, they're going to keep DK. I think DK is providing you a skill floor that's going to be above elimination play. I think he just brings a level of clutch, a level of just enough oomph, both on pitching, defense, offense. He truly is a 4-tool player. He doesn't have speed, we'll be honest. But I think that he's going to keep you on a floor where he's a kind of a guy that you're going to have that puts you into the wild card game and just is not able to get it done or gets it done and gets you to the semifinals, but I think that's the ceiling. But a floor just seems to be at least the wild card game. And with that, I think this is going to be the final season that we see Critter Crew. I just don't think Critter Crew is going to have enough to get over the hump of reaching reaching the postseason at all. And that might be a little bit of a wild take, but I'm just not in love with the Critter Crew's picks that they have, where they're going to be making their picks. I mean, we don't see Critter Crew until the second round, if I remember correctly. And they don't have a ton of picks to work with. I'm looking at it now. So Critter Crew doesn't pick until the 10th overall pick, and then don't pick again until the third round again, and then are not picking until the sixth round. So I'm just not in love with what the Critter Crew has. I think it's going to take something pretty miraculous for them to be able to escape elimination once again. That's my take.
Yeah, and I mean, I was gonna say Critter Crew is the number 6 for me. That was gonna be my next pick, simply because, you know, they have a good solid core with their crew that they have, but you know, to your point, they only have 6 picks, and you know they don't pick in round 4 or 5, but they have that round 2 and round 3 pick, which is what the Slugging Heat lack, and so they can at least get that talent that they need in order to kind of hold the team down altogether. So I do think that they're going to be able to use those to their advantage, and they're going to end up making the playoffs, probably just barely squeaking in, but I can see them making the playoffs this season.
No, I don't care. I'm not.
Interesting. So this is where we start getting into really interesting conversations on where we think teams are, because at this point we're into teams who are losing in the wild card. So of these, I think there is a clear upper echelon of teams. I think that we're going to see some teams that are pretty much, you know, these are the teams that are going to be pretty mid this season and are going to be looking to rebound into next season. And with that, I'm going to hit you with both of them at the same time. My first one is going to be Slugging Heat for the same reasons that you said. I think that they're going to be 6. I think they have the floor to get here with the ceiling for more, but I think this is about where they're going to be lying. And then my next team is, this may seem a little bit crazy, but just based off of the players they have right now, I have the Royals at 5. This may seem a little low, but I think the Royals just don't have that same level of talent that we're going to be looking at from these other teams. And it's going to take a pretty tremendous draft for them to be able to escape this wild card and, you know, get to taste the semifinals experience like they did in season 1.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, and that's actually my next pick. The number 5 pick for me was going to be the Royals. Simply kind of like you said, I think that they have enough draft picks and enough ability to make things work in the draft that they will be able to build at least a team that they can work around. And what I mean by that is basically trading away some of their picks that they get in the draft, or trading away the players that they pick up in the draft in order to build a solid team moving forward into, you know, the postseason. So I do think that the Royals are going to be able to get in at that 5 seed, and kind of like you said, I think that they just lack that initial talent that they need in order to make things work. So they're my 5 pick, and I think my 4th pick is actually going to be Fury. I think that they have a good, solid core. You know, as we talk about Bowser just being one of the most dominant pitchers in the league, or the most dominant pitcher in the league right now, and just the core that they have to work around is great. I think that they are set up in a way with their picks that they have, with being in the lottery and the second round pick, that they can make things work even with only 6 picks. However, I do think that they're going to struggle a little bit more this season with not having as many players on their roster and not being able to make as many moves without using capital for DSA Season 4. So I think Fury is going to be my number 4.
Semifinal exit. So better than last season, but certainly worse than Season 1. So, okay, interesting. So this is actually where I'm going to be putting the Fallout Boys. I'm going to put them at 4. They're going to be our other semifinal team. I believe that they have a floor that is just going to elevate them over everybody beneath them, but they're just missing the ceiling to be able to break through and really reach that finals berth that they've been hunting for. I mean, they made it straight to the semifinals last year, but then were put out in 2 games by Slug and Heat. I certainly think that this is going to be a team that is, competing just as much as everybody else and fighting their way into the semis just the same. So I liking Fallout Boys a whole lot right now. I think with a great draft, their ceiling could be even higher. But I think with where they are, where they project to be, this is going to be a team that is looking to be, I would say, just pretty much just in the race, but a rung below our top competitors.
Yeah, I agree. But I do think Fallout Boys from here is going to be my number 3. I think they're going to finish 3rd, just above Fury. I do think that they're going to be able to work with what they have in the draft, just having a little bit more consistent picks in the draft this season than the Fury does, along with having a core that might not look spectacular on paper, but they're going to be able to make it work with with Firebro and Dark Bones and the Red Kamek. They're going to be able to make that infield spectacular, and they're gonna find picks in the draft that are huge value picks. And I think GM Brandon is going to be able to make that happen if any of the GMs are. So I could definitely see Fall Out Boys finishing 3rd.
I mean, Fall Out Boys are my early candidate for going to be executive of the season. I think Fall Out Boys are going to do something pretty substantial, pretty miraculous in this draft. We're going to be looking in the boneheaded or big brain, and I think we're going to be looking at Fall Out Boys as one of the biggest brains out there. With that being said, my 3rd team is going to be Fury. I think this is where Fury slots in. I think Fury is going to be able to have that star ceiling with Bowser. Barring any trades of trading Bowser away or anything like that, Fury just has that level of ceiling that Fall Out Boys just doesn't have without a superstar like Bowser, DK, etc. So I think I like Fury in that 3. I think they're still going to not have enough, to the points that you made previously about the capital that they have. Barring any trades, that Fury just isn't going to have enough oomph to get up over our final 2.
Yeah,
And
I agree.
should we do the champions now? Should we announce, since we have the same 2 teams?
Yeah, I think my pick for the champions this season is going to be the Warp Zone Warriors. I do think that they are going to overcome the hump that they kind of hit last season. I think that they're going to be able to use the first 2 round picks, or the first, I guess, 4 picks that they have in the first 2 rounds. They're going to be able to use those to their advantage and build around what is kind of on paper a pretty solid core. The only thing that kind of sticks out is the Kamek, but they're kind of going with the blue theme, and I think that they're going to make that work, with blue being one of the most versatile colors in this league. So I think that the Warp Zone Warriors are going to take home that trophy, and that Pipe Dream is just going to fall a little bit short this season. Even with all the picks they have, just the core that they're starting with is a little bit rough. So we'll see how it plays out, but that's my pick.
This may shock everybody. Or nobody. I'm going to just go the exact same for the exact same reasons you mentioned. I'm just so high on Warp Zone Warriors. This just feels like the season for them. Like, just looking at it this far away, Warp Zone Warriors really does just... They've been on the cusp every single year. They get upset in the wild card season 1. They make it all the way and force game 3 against we're leading at one point in game 2, ready to shut it down and win game 2 in the semifinals. If you just look at that as straight linear progression, Warp Zone Warriors is going to be in the finals. And I think that they're going to have the talent level, the picks, the necessary picks to stay competitive with the Pipe Dream. And there's the floor of having much better players off the start as much better players off the start than Pipe Dream has, just to get it done. I mean, you look at what, again, I just keep looking back to what the Wigglers were able to get done, and you see that they were led by Waluigi as their captain. Warp Zone Warriors will be able to have the players around the captain that it doesn't matter who their captain is, they're going to be getting a ring. So I'm just looking forward to seeing this team progress and seeing if anybody's going to be able to compete with them at all this season.
Yeah, I mean, there you have it, everybody. That's our way too early predictions. Excited to see how this season plays out. And I mean, just looking at it, it looks like it's going to be a great season moving forward. So can't wait to see what happens. Can't wait to see what these teams do with potential rebrands and some of these teams looking to maybe shift up their identity a little bit. So,
any final thoughts as we get ready to move on to the lottery?
No, not for me. I think this is this is going to be a great season. Like I said, and we're going to see a lot of interesting things shift around this season, and can't wait to see what happens.
Absolutely. So we're going to take a quick commercial break, and then we will be back with the lottery to determine where each team will make their picks, who gets Peter Plant's Piranha Man, Petey for short. And with that, we will see you shortly. Thank you. I've been Dawson.
I'm Nathan.
We will see you in just a little bit. Whenever he gets done, y'all can unmute. So what'd you think? Do we like the graphics?
I like the graphics. They were nice. Very well done. Appreciate it.
Of course.
Makes it a little more fun.
Who's talking to Jim?
Tag.
Me when I lose a gift.
Oh my god.
I think it would be in true chaos fashion for the Wigglers to go on a run again, win some stupid games, make it into the playoffs. I feel
That's what I was thinking.
I swear it's gonna happen, but I also have no idea how it could possibly happen. That's the best part about it.
If he just drafts me, they all have chemistry together. I mean, he's going to be the only one drafting purple and yellow me. Like,
He just takes the whole purple team and he just makes purple.
or he might make Wario's. He might get Wario again.
Get Wario again and just rebuild the first year.
I wonder if Spivey's even here. I bet you this is still running too.
It's probably done left watching the football game or something.
I think it's going to be interesting. I have 2 different draft plans depending on shenanigans if they go on, and we'll see which one goes on.
5-point team, coach to 5. Wrong person.
Well, sorry. Anyways, are we doing the lottery now, or are we doing it?
We should do it now
Okay, that was what the plan.
Yeah.
to allow
Also-
people to trade picks that are
Yeah,
in the
a lot. But if you want to trade into the lottery, that certainly is more.
No, I'd rather have the picks decided and trade for the first, be able to trade for pick 1 or trade for pick 2.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I think I'd rather.
Then trade into the gamble of getting pick 1. That feels really shitty.
I mean, it's just luck.
No, yeah, but if you're trying to plan a season around luck, that's really kind of lame.
Oh well. I don't know if Akai is here.
That's why I said, why did you tag JT?
Well, he didn't. I'm gonna click the thing and see if. No, it ended. No, we're live.
Oh.
Okay, no, we are.
Hold on, let me make the stream inappropriate so it ends.
No, please, we don't need a strike on the channel.
Yeah, I know it's live. I didn't turn it off because I'm in the middle of something else
I'm
right
watching
now.
the YouTube.
So I'm at my computer, but I can't
Oh,
really turn it
brother.
back.
This
So,
guy.
Okay.
I hear you guys though. I didn't know
Bro,
what else
he's
to do,
awake.
So I just let it run. I figured you guys were just gonna keep going straight to the
He's idle right now.
straight to the lottery, and I was
Let's
like,
go.
you know what, the lottery.
Hey, we didn't do that. All right, well, we'll do it now then. All right.
Want the
Okay.
lottery?
Yep.
All right.
Okay. Well,
Pull
see
it
you.
up. Let's see it.
I mean, I'm still
Let's see
watching.
it.
Okay, bye.
Alright.
Okay. All right. For our viewers at home, I guess this is a behind-the-scenes look.
I scored when we played.
So, cool.
Are we gonna roll? Are we gonna roll it like right here?
I'm about to start it up.
Oh man.
I figured somebody was gonna break one free. I'd rather you scored that than your offense scored one on me. So.
Okay. So we're setting up the lottery. We welcome everybody back to PSA Season 2 3 Lottery. I'm Dawson.
And I'm Nathan.
We have our special guest, GM. He's gone. Never. Okay, yeah, GM of. Wait, are you the GM of?
The owner's here today. GM is cooking in the kitchen, as one could say.
The owner of the Royals. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. It's exciting to be here.
Glad to have you. Looking forward to this lottery spin, huh?
Very much so.
You could be the one to snag Peter from the pipe dream here. So the most odds.
Yeah, I've been talking with my GM, Mike Toad. He's got a few plans in the works depending on where we come out of this lottery. So we're going to see where the, I don't know, picks fall.
Well, I think the world is watching right now as we wait and see who ends up with this first overall pick.
Yes, we are. High budget here.
Oh my god. Hey, who's hurt? Okay. Yeah.
I don't know if this makes sense, but it's okay. I don't know if this makes sense, but it's okay. As long as y'all get it, that's all that matters. As long as y'all get it, that's all that matters.
No, I know what I'm doing.
That look correct for all our viewers?
Looks good.
That looks correct to me.
That look correct for all our viewers?
That looks correct to me.
I think that means we are ready. With a drum roll, please. We are ready. With a drum roll, please. Can I make it slow? I think I can. That's too bad. Can I make it slow? I think I can. That's too bad. All right. Here we go. For the first overall pick in Dark Horse Slugging Association, Season 3.
No, I'm actually going
Slugging Association, Season 3. Oh.
And there you have it. Just as fate would have decided. Pipe dream.
40%, their first pick. That will be the first pick, if you will mind writing that down somewhere, my co-host.
Yep, I got it recorded here.
If you will mind writing that down somewhere, my co-host.
Yep, I got it recorded here.
The second overall pick for the Dark Horse Slugging Association Season 3 draft. Overall pick for the Dark Horse Slugging Association Season 3
Oh my god.
draft.
Of course. A fucking course.
Oh wow.
I'm in cover 4, so
Gonna be the Royals.
Let's go.
All these people in their zone.
How do you feel right now, owner of the Royals?
I think that's what we were planning for. We have a few other plans. We're going to do some cooking behind the scenes, see where we can come out with. But there might be a few trades in the kitchen.
Okay. Hey, you'd love to see it. We know the trades go live soon after this draft. But that will leave only 2 picks left, Pipe Dream and Fury. For the third overall pick in the Dark Horse Sluggy Association Season 3 draft.
Breakdancing.
Overall pick in the Dark Horse Sluggy Association Season 3 draft. Pipe Dream.
And there you have it. That means that the draft order went exactly how it should have. There you have it.
Completely chalk. So, no surprises this lottery. And for posterity's sake, Fury does earn the fourth pick in the Season 3 draft. Completely to chalk. What does this mean for the season, for the lottery, for the draft? What does it mean moving into the season, Nathan?
I mean, this means that Pipe Dream has everything to look forward to with getting Peter. And that, the Royals, as we heard from the GM, he's gonna work on some things and try to figure some stuff out. Or, I'm sorry, the owner, he's gonna work with his GM to get some things figured out. And then for Fury, unfortunately, they're not gonna be able to, if you will, swindle the other two teams. They're gonna have to work around that fourth overall pick, which they should be able to manage. But we'll see where they go from this. I think this is going to end up putting Pipe Dream up there where we expected them to, and the Royals are essentially going to stay where they are.
I think you're right. I'm curious to see where if anybody is going to be making any moves. I'm just really interested to see what happens. I think this is a great opportunity for these teams to really solidify control of each of their teams being in the lottery. I mean, there's still some great players, 1 through 4, and even some more going into the 5 through 16, going into the second round as well. So lots of opportunities. The trades will be starting. Is it today or is it tomorrow?
I believe for the sake of how the league needs to manage this, I think that trades are going to start tomorrow morning at 8 a.m.
I think that's right. I think that was what was agreed in the general managers or the owners whenever they met up for each of these teams. So, but with that being said, any final thoughts as we turn it over and begin our next season with the draft day looming next Sunday?
Not for me. I think that this is going to be, one of the craziest seasons that we've seen so far. With the GMs and the owners kind of figuring out how to manage the teams and knowing what to look for in the players, and with the draft being as crazy as it is, we're definitely going to have some interesting developments. So
certainly, I'm in agreement on all, and that looks like that's going to do it for us here tonight. I've been your host Dawson, here with my glorious co-host.
Hang on a second.
Nathan.
And we thank you, and we look forward to seeing you next time.